Welcome to the Taylor's Tales podcast. This is Chris's Corner. I'm your host, Chris Taylor, and we're back this week with a very special podcast, including three of my best mates. Starting from alphabetical order, we're going with George Taylor, the hilarious hyena. How you doing, George?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Fantastic. We have
Good.
the architect of Alderaan, Jonathan Edwards.
Not so much an architect, but thank you.
And then we have the punk of the pandemic, of course, it's Jordan Green.
I have to do it.
The perfect intro. So, with my shoddy lighting going on today, lads, I'm sorry about this, but straight into it. I'm just going to go straight in because we've been talking about it pre the podcast already. How are you feeling about the Disney lineup going on?
Excited.
Yeah, couldn't be more excited.
Faith in Disney has been restored.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So, we've all seen the sequels. We've seen them together, and we've seen them, I think, a few times apart as well. Even though you enjoyed them, because I can say I did enjoy them, do you feel that they were as bad as everyone made them out to be?
No. I don't know. You didn't want something, a bigger franchise like Star Wars to get Disney come in and sort of ruin it like they did with Pirates of the Caribbean. The last
Even
one,
that wasn't
anyway.
too bad, though.
The last one was.
Yeah,
It's
but I
just,
think they were
you
just
know,
sort of dragging it out by that point.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm glad they have. I'm glad. I was expecting when Disney first announced that they were taking over the Star Wars franchise, I was going to see Mickey Mouse with a lightsaber sort of running about. So I'm glad there's no Mickey Mouses. But I mean, I think I'm on the third episode of The Mandalorian at the moment, and it's good. It's good. I'm very impressed.
It's not too Disneyfied. It's what I like about it. It's, if you didn't know that Disney were behind it, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the prequels were a bit of an experiment, and then the sequels, they just kind of wanted to. It's just a moneymaker, and it just wasn't fair on the fans, and it wasn't fair. But I personally believe that J.J. Abrams did a great job with the Force Awakens. There were a lot of loose ends that he needed to finish up in the the 8th and 9th films, but I feel that if he was the director for the 8th film, for the last, he might have changed the name, but for The Last Jedi. Yeah. If he was the director for that, then it would have been more consistent through that trilogy. I think you guys all know my opinion, whereas when Disney took over, I think they should have made a 6-part series. What they should have done is instead of made 3 films and then said, yep, it's adding to that, just make it like a bit further away and make it a 6-part series, so they can say, oh, this is the Disney series and this is the Lucas series. And I think a lot more people would have enjoyed that, because you've got time and, well, Disney have got the copious amounts of money just to kind of really work on it.
Yeah. As proven by the new amounts of content that they're providing on Disney Plus, which shows that their, sort of pockets are ever that deeper.
I think it might be because they know that a lot of people are still locked down with not a lot to do. So like, what can we make people do while they have so much spare time? Let's make them watch Disney Plus.
And pay.
Yeah.
How much? Do you guys know how much it is per month? Is there is it similar to Netflix?
It's like 60 quid, isn't it? Or is it
60 quid a month?
Yeah,
I don't think it's that much.
That's a bit extortionate.
When it first got off, I thought it was like 60 quid a month.
I got a family account with a friend, so I think between 4 of us, it was like 12.5 quid a year because we signed up straight away.
Oh.
Okay, so it's they're trying to challenge the other streaming services, and like Jordan said, I think that's an extremely good tactical move for them overall. One thing that I do find is that there's a little some of the characters. Let's just say, as Jonny said earlier, the continuity was, let's say, sort of thrown aside and just sort of given the best sort of platform for that movie itself. So whatever the press were going to give the best reaction to, they went with that. And I
feel like some characters are sort of shoehorned in a bit.
Yeah, and the one that comes to mind for me, I don't know about you guys, is John Boyega's character.
I was going to say the same.
Finn.
Yeah.
He felt the same as well.
Yeah, he was just shooed in and just left there. There was so much potential. Again, with this, the extending it with a 6-parter, you would have dived deeper into his character's force abilities, his relationship with Rey, this Chinese woman who he had a thing with, who disappeared or got ill or something like that. She damaged herself in some way. But
is this Rose?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I'm terrible with names.
I was thinking.
But I do agree with you both. I think that in this case, Rose is a very particular character who got apparently the same amount of hate as Jar Jar Binks did when the prequels were first released, which to me
is that even possible?
Yeah, is that even possible? And to me,
she wasn't that bad.
What did people not like about Jar Jar Binks though? Was it just his character in general, or just like was there too much of him? I don't know.
That's a very
I think
question.
people thought it was a very easy way to link his race with like to introduce another race on the planet of Naboo. Whereas because they were all hiding in their I can't remember the name of it and it annoys me, in their underwater city.
Gunga City.
Yeah.
Was it? I think.
Because they were hiding there, if you were in the main city of Naboo, then you wouldn't really see them, and I feel like people represent him as an easy way of connecting the two, and it's not represented very well.
Yeah, I do agree. And one thing that you could think of, I think that George Lucas felt, was that people immediately looked at him as a comic relief character. While I thought, as a kid, he was brilliant, because obviously when you're a kid and you're watching that sort of film, you just sort of think he's funny, silly, etc. But in Rose's case, there wasn't any comic relief to sort of redeem the character. It was just sort of, you're in there, that's it.
I think it was more of a romantic side story that you wanted to. They wanted to pull Finn away from Rey because Rey was going with Ben, and they wanted justification for him turning away from Rey. And I feel like this whole thing was it must have been in the story room up on the wall and thinking, oh yeah, we can really link those two up, and then it's just obviously fallen off the wall, slipped behind the back of a seat or something, and no one's realized. No one's realized that the ending of that story is like on the floor somewhere. But
feels like the writers' room. They were just like, we wrote that.
Yeah. Shit. We need to write that, I guess. Yeah.
What I think was the most shoehorned thing about any of the new Star Wars films is that like lesbian girl on girl kiss scene at the end.
Oh yeah.
I get it, but
in a couple of countries,
my instant thought was like, you guys are just trying to hit just tick some boxes here.
100%.
Well, I can't remember a lesbian scene.
Oh,
it was for like half a second or a second right at the end of the last film.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, George's reaction got me there. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I know you're doing straight after this call then.
Oh yeah.
Moving on from that, because we're going on to dangerous ground here. Yeah, it's one of those things where Disney now has to sort of comply with the standards of society. I think that's kind of rubbish. But what they
That's
have...
the thing. Had they introduced it a little bit more, or worked at least some kind of story up to it, even like 30 seconds worth.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. But it just sort of happened, and straight away I knew that that's what it was about.
Yeah.
And because it was a split second right at the end of the last film, it did feel shoehorned in. But I feel like even if they had a massive romantic part between Rey and Rose in the main storyline that traveled all the way through, people wouldn't be upset, because you would push, or you would invest in the storyline, you would invest in the characters themselves, and it would be okay. I think because it was this final bit, and also this whole Disney thing about ticking boxes, it's exactly the same in the Marvel universe, when in Endgame they said, oh yeah, all the women were together, but then hold on, they were in different corners of the battlefield 2 seconds ago. All of a sudden they just appear in one place. Okay, hold on. I'm all for women power, and women can do things sometimes a lot better than men, but having this whole ticking box kind of, people don't understand that you need to really work on these storylines and work on these, like, Disney's got so much money. How did they not just work on it a bit more?
Time constraints. I think what you said right at the beginning of this podcast, Jonny, you hit it spot on, is that if they'd given themselves a little bit more time, really thought into it and maybe spread out the sort of development of the films, they could have helped themselves a little bit more. But because they were just pumping out product after product, just like the Marvel films, I think that's where they got a little bit caught up in their own sort of ego a little bit. It's like, oh, we can do it with Marvel, therefore we can do it with Star Wars as well, and therefore we're going to be able to just get these movies out one after another. Ironically, moving on to a positive note, they have brought in Hayden Christensen to basically save a new franchise even further. And make all of us, like, who were brought up in the early 2000s with the prequels to latch on to this new era of Star Wars. And I was gonna follow up from previously, is how you guys are feeling about seeing Hayden in the new Obi-Wan series.
I lost it.
I mean, Hayden Christensen. I've not seen any other films with Hayden Christensen in.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, I haven't seen him outside the role of Anakin Skywalker, but
I don't think there's anything
it's
that
like,
noteworthy, really.
It's like Harry
Jumper's
Potter.
all right.
Like, you see Daniel Radcliffe in another film, and you think, okay, he's just going to whip out a wand at some point. But it's exactly the same with Hayden Christensen. I think they casted him so well that I can't see him as another character than Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's quite. I'm relieved that they've brought him back, and I'm so buzzing for this Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Is it a series or a film?
Series.
It's going to be a series.
We're not really going to, unless there's any sort of flashbacks, we're not really going to see him as Anakin, because he was Darth Vader by that point, so he's going to be all burned up and suited.
I'm still hyped.
Yeah.
I think if it was just Darth Vader, they would have got a body double in, but I think because they're getting Hayden back, they might actually have the flashback scenes.
Yeah.
He won't be on Tatooine, so I think it might be a Force connection between Qui-Gon Jinn, because Liam Neeson's coming back as well.
Is it?
And yeah. So I believe. Let me just check that.
Well, I know at the end of episode 3, Obi-Wan sort of said that he was talking to him, or Yoda said that he came back.
Which is super hype for me, because I was such a big fan of Qui-Gon, because he was like the Jedi who was the bridge between the dark side and the light side, because he was an apprentice of Count Dooku, who at the time of going to the dark side, he was his apprentice, which is always, to me, I just love that idea that if Anakin had been trained by him, he would have had a yellow lightsaber, which would have been just like super hype for me personally, because I just love the idea of that sort of vibe of the balance in the Force. But yeah. So, moving into a little bit less of what's going on new, going back a little bit, when was the first time you guys watched Star Wars, and who was it with?
Must have been mid-90s with my dad watching the original 3.
Wow.
And then after that, we went to see episode 1 come out in the cinema. In
got to see-
99,
I think that was the same.
which is the only film I've ever cried at. When I
Really?
was
That
5.
bad.
It was emotional, man.
Oh my god! How dare you? How dare you? Duel of Fates made me upset as well, man. If that comes on, that's it. How
It's the
dare you?
music as well. It's the music of the Duel of the Fates as well.
Yeah,
that just
Yeah,
gets
that still
every
gets me a
time.
bit, but nothing hit quite like Qui-Gon Jinn dying when you're 5, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
But,
Well, what about you guys?
I don't know. It must have been with you, Chris. Back in when did the first one? Was it 98?
I thought it was
99?
99. I
Was it
didn't
99?
see it until it came out on video, believe it or not.
No.
The first one.
I mean, I don't think I saw any of the prequels. Oh no, I saw Revenge of the Sith with you,
Yes.
and that came out in
2005.
2005, 19th of May. I can remember that
Yes.
because I was literally
Very
counting down the
specific.
days. Because I can remember seeing in the newspaper at the time, Anakin Skywalker, what he was like burnt. For some reason, it made headlines in the Sun or whatever. And I can remember reading it, and it was a couple of days before the actual release of Revenge of the Sith. And I was bricking it. I was having nightmares before. I kept seeing him in my brain being burned up. I was devastated. I mean, it's weird because you get so attached to a character after watching them grow up. You know, you see a young kid on Tatooine, young and innocent. Then you see him as an apprentice, and then you know full well what's going to happen in the third one. So to watch that transaction, it's like you do cry a bit. Your heart does break a little bit, doesn't it?
It does.
It's
100%.
it's emotional.
Yeah.
I cry now.
Oh dear, but yeah, no, I'm intrigued to know just because it starting off with films, the first impression does make a big impression, and we all hold these sort of movies in our hearts in one way or another, and getting started from there. What would you say really intrigued you about the Star Wars franchise? Obviously, there's the lightsabers. For me personally, when I was a kid, me and George used to have the whole lightsaber duels in the school grounds and stuff like that. What really got you guys going?
Pretty much the same, I think. And what kid isn't going to be obsessed with spaceships and a big scary bad guy like Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Or Darth Maul.
Or Darth Maul, yeah.
Darth Maul, yeah.
And I love the fact that so many people who watch the films, they're like, oh yeah, Darth Maul's dead. And then everybody
So
who just
wrong.
watches, everybody who watches like the animated Clone Wars series or just read the books as well. They've just, outdone
I'm
themselves.
so glad that
So good.
the series had this big Darth Maul arc, because I remember when I was little, I don't remember where it was. I think it was some service station or like motorway restaurant that we'd stopped up for food on wherever we were going as a family. There was this comic book that came with one of the meals, and it had this Darth Maul comic in it about him with his bionic legs. I was like, oh my god, he's alive! This is the best thing ever. This is so cool. And now there's an actual whole thing about it.
Yeah, man. 2008 when the Clone Wars came out. I think it was within 2008, 2009 when I was around 12 or 13, which is the perfect time to basically get into Clone Wars when I was that age.
I actually never
remember
really
that.
watched it until this year.
Oh my god, really?
I used to see the odd bit on TV, on Cartoon Network, whatever it was, and then I had the first season on DVD. But then this year, when I got Disney Plus or Disney Life as it was back then, I just binged the whole thing.
I'm exactly the same. The run that I'm doing at the moment is the first time that I've doing the run. I've seen the first series a couple of times, but yeah.
Oh, dude, it's crazy good. Rebels is really good as well.
Yes. 100%. What do you guys think of the fact in Rebels that they've got the really thin lightsaber in comparison to Clone Wars?
That bothered me so much.
Me too, man.
I'm not a fan.
It's the way they move as well. They move like really like jolty.
Yeah, it's like the original New Hope where Vader has the sort of quite samurai movement to his sort of lightsaber.
Mm.
And it's also, we talk about Darth Vader, it's in Rebels, he's a very slender figure. He's got a really long, like a long head, and it just doesn't, to me, it's not the same.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
I wish they'd sort of kept it consistent between the two, but...
Yeah, the same animators would have helped, probably. But George, have you not seen either the Clone Wars or Rebels?
No.
Oh well,
George, you sort out.
I know. It's on my to watch list. So with this Disney Plus, do you get literally everything? Is it all on there?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I know what I'm going to get for Christmas.
There you go, bud. There you go. That's a nice little subscription to add for you. But
yeah, that's the good thing about Disney Plus is that you do get everything. So with Amazon Prime, you can pay to have Prime for a year, and there's still a bunch of films that you have to pay for or rent.
Yeah.
But Star Wars, Disney, even you get everything.
Yeah.
And you get all of the Simpsons as well.
That takes me back, mate.
The entirety of the Simpsons.
Oh my God! Have you guys ever seen Homer, the original Homer? Like that's scary. Like that actually makes me have nightmares. I look at him and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, the original Simpsons is super creepy.
It was. Yeah, 100%. Anyway, back to Star Wars. So I was just gonna again. These are just off the sort of cuff thing. What's your favorite Star Wars? And this is probably going to be controversial for all of us here.
Gotta be 3.
3.
Yeah, I'd say Revenge of the Sith.
Jonny, what are we saying?
If you say The Last Jedi.
He just says, throws it in there.
I've definitely got a favourite few. There's definitely better ones and worse ones, but I'd have to still go with A New Hope. It was the first ever Star Wars film that I watched, and I was exactly the same as you, Jordan. It was watch A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, all waiting for watching the Phantom Menace coming out in cinemas. And yeah, I still think that first introduction to Star Wars and the whole universe, it just hits on a new level, on a just kind of powerful emotional level. So I'll have to go with A New Hope.
I think the first of any franchise is probably the one that sticks in your memory for a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly. Yeah, it's like Harry Potter as well. Like I'm obsessed with Harry Potter. Everyone says, "Oh, the fourth one's the best," or the final one's the best. It's like, no, the first one is where you introduce the characters. You get into this world where, in your head you think, wow, this is amazing. And then, it just continues from there. But, I mean, the fourth one, The New Hope was quality as well. I can remember that was probably the first one that I saw as well, that my dad showed me.
I think the thing about Episode 3 and Episode 2 as well is that compared to 4, 5 and 6, it takes on a much wider view. So it views things on a bit of a galactic scale rather than just following the story of a few people.
Yes.
So you get these big battles and you see loads of different planets and you see things happening with armies and main characters rather than just a few one-on-one battles.
Yeah.
Plus the memes.
Yeah. It's the most memeable one of all.
I love it. No, I really do.
I know it.
I've got a question for you guys, actually. What do you guys think about the changing of the warp speed or how they warp? So it was originally in the original 3, it was the streaks of light coming towards you.
Yeah.
And now how Disney have changed it, they burst into this kind of wormhole effect. And this, to me, the wormhole effect, to have that circular wormhole, that was always a Star Trek thing. Whereas Star Wars, it was always the streaks of light, and then boom, you're there.
I've never
No,
even
I've
thought
not
about
really
that.
thought about it, to be honest. But I've only just realised. Wow. Is that
Now you
that's...
pointed it out, it's going to bother me forever.
What
Sorry.
have you done, Johnny? It's going to be stuck in the back of our minds forever.
I know. It's just something that I noticed straight away, and it like the lightsabers in Rebels compared to Clone Wars. That subtle difference of how they convey different aspects of this Star Wars franchise, it just seemed a bit. I just didn't like it at first, but then obviously going through the Star Wars Clone Wars animated series, they do it there, so I'm slowly getting used to it.
Well, to throw a spanner in your works there, buddy, the Solo film actually does do the streaks of light, unlike the warp.
Yes, yeah. So the Solo film did. I don't know why they did that though, because Rogue One, I think Rogue One did the wormhole. All the new ones, so episode 7, 8, 9, they definitely did the wormhole.
Yes, yeah. But maybe it's a time thing. Maybe as time goes on, the technology advances. That
That's what I just thought.
Yeah.
Maybe. But then there's the wormhole in the Clone Wars.
Oh, there we go, mate. It's inconsistency.
So you'd have it either side. Yeah.
Maybe type of hyperdrive.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good shout.
Yeah. Because they are in the.
Because the streaks of light was faster, the wormhole could be a slower one.
Yeah. And they were doing it in the Millennium Falcon as well. So.
That's an interesting one to ponder about there. Just.
There must be an answer online somewhere.
Yeah.
Must have the answers for this.
Just go on Reddit and then end up in a rabbit hole, finding yourself just online forever. Either that or Wikipedia, or whatever it's called.
Wikipedia.
Dude, I spent a solid 8 hours in a row on that website before.
Oh mate, there's so much information to absorb about Star Wars. It's top quality stuff.
It was years ago. Like, I had a night off, or it was after work one night, and you see a link that looks interesting, you click it open in another tab, and then you do the same, and then the same, and then the same, and to get everything read and all the tabs closed again, I was there until about 8 in the morning. It was really interesting, but the sun came up and I was still reading about Star Wars.
That's definitely commitment towards the cause, my friend.
Something like that.
So moving on, I was going to ask. This is pretty much a solid one for all of us because we've already talked about this emotionally wise. What's the soundtrack that really gets you all?
Jewel of the Fates.
There you go.
Or what was the one where?
No, it's that first. Oh, I can remember the scene exactly. It's Luke on Tatooine, stepping up to the kind of the mound, seeing the two sunsets.
That's known as the main
What's
theme.
that called?
Yeah, and it's just the slow trumpet, and then it's just you know something's gonna happen.
Jordan, I know what you're referring to.
You've just given me goosebumps just now.
I love that. That's the way you're a true Star Wars fan, where the soundtrack really gets you from any sort of way of doing it.
It's Johnny's beautiful rendition, just.
Yeah. If I had my trumpet spare, then I would. I'd do a few bits for you.
I also like the track with when Anakin and Obi-Wan are coming into the fight over Coruscant. In the the first one, it's
right at the start,
drums, dun dun, and then they come flying in their Jedi fighters.
That was
and
such
then they're
an
on their way
scene.
to Grievous's command ship.
This is where the fun begins.
Just that whole scene. I've got goosebumps now.
Darth Maul against Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon as well.
Yeah, that is the Jewel of Fate.
The first one.
The Fates, I think.
Is it? That's the one.
Is that the same one that gets played with Anakin and Obi-Wan?
No, that's Jewel of Heroes.
That's the other one. Yeah, I always get the two mixed up. Yeah, those two.
Mate, and you guys haven't even talked about the one that I was gonna say, which is Order 66.
Oh yeah.
Mate, that makes me
I
cry.
try not to think about
Good
Order
one.
66, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Duel of Fates is up there. Duel of Heroes is up there.
Mm.
But yeah, my favourite's got to be that slow
Main theme.
trumpet.
Yeah.
The main theme. Yeah,
Love it.
Lots of
And I
painful
also
memories
like
coming
the
back now.
in the Return of the Jedi, the Ewok finale. I just love how upbeat it is, and you know, I think it's called like I listened to it the other day. It's like a celebration / victory parade or something. And every time
It's
I hear
feel-good
that
music,
music, I could just I could just imagine the little Ewoks doing like.
Making me smile just thinking about it. I'm just thinking of those cuddly boys.
Nah, it's the Cantina song, isn't it?
Oh, I love it.
Classic one.
Yeah, that is a classic. That's where you just like think to yourself, "One need death sticks. What's a death sticks?"
I go home and rethink my life. Same, mate.
Oh, mate, yeah. I wish Obi-Wan had done that to me. But yeah, I love all of those. You guys have brought up my favourites there, and I think that a soundtrack can really make or break a movie, and John Williams has made this entire franchise on any of them, like however you play
Legend.
it. Absolute legend.
Have you seen the meme where I think it's John Williams sitting on a beach on a piano, and then the piano's on fire, and it's like every time a lightsaber strikes another lightsaber, and he's just like with a piano in flames.
This is so stupid but so good. I love it. Oh dear. Oh, great.
Let's talk about games.
Games.
What was your first Star Wars game? Whether you bought it on Atari, PlayStation.
Who has an Atari? I'm sorry, stop me right there. Which one of you guys has an Atari?
I've got an Atari.
I had an Atari.
What? Where are you guys from? The early 80s?
I had one. I don't have anyone anymore.
I didn't have video games until super late. I was probably like a few years after the PS2 came out. But my first Star Wars game experience, I think it was actually at Ali's. It was on PS1. I don't know what the game was now, but you're going through this sort of hedge maze in Naboo.
Oh,
what was it?
Okay.
It might have even been a Phantom Menace game. I don't know, whatever it was. Yeah, it was at Ali's house.
Yeah, it's probably either. Actually, I'm trying to think. It might have been the original Star Wars Battlefront, because there is a lot of that there, but I don't know.
I wasn't on PlayStation 1 though, was it?
I was on PlayStation 2 and
I was on PlayStation
Xbox
2,
One.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember one, and it was in I think it was PlayStation 1, and you were in Mos Eisley, and
Yes.
you were you were an 8080, I think. And I mean the graphics were poor, but I can't remember.
Yeah, but at the time you're like, oh my god, this is so realistic.
Yeah, it was good. But I think you weren't you couldn't get out of the vehicle. I think it was like a vehicle sort of death match. But I can remember renting it from Apollo Home Entertainment every Friday because they only they put a week on it, because I just kept borrowing it, and everyone was like, they had a waiting list for the game, and I didn't want to give it up. So every week I just put my name on the waiting list, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was like it was something like an 80-80 death match or something, but it was really cool. And do you remember the ones in? Did you ever go to Mega Bowl in Reading? You know, with where you used to sit in a little booth and you used to have the controller and you would fight the X-Wings. No?
Yeah, no, I remember that.
And the last mission, you were on the Death Star and you had to fight Darth Vader, and no one could beat him. Oh, quality. It'd be interesting to see how much
someone else play that. I thought it looked really scary.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Chris, you must remember that.
I'm struggling to, mate. I genuinely am right now.
I'll send a picture. I'll send a picture after of what it looks like.
I mean, I remember having. This is obviously post Battlefront, but do you remember that stupid little ball I got for my birthday one time, where you'd literally get the lightsaber and you'd fling it like this, and you'd fight on the TV. You'd have Darth Maul and you'd be fighting Darth Maul, and it would recognise your saber movements. And it was
like
just
a Jedi training game.
Just
getting so wound up because the lightsaber won't hit the sensor. go over here or something when you want it to go over here.
It was like a
That's quite funny.
predating PlayStation 4 thing that was just so bad back in the day.
It was good.
But originally, I think for all of us here, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Battlefront 2 was by far the best Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Possibly even just the best game, full stop. Just gonna throw it out there.
You could, and a lot of people would agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just the fact it had a story mode as well.
Yes.
Something
Galactic
especially now,
Galactic
so many games
Conquest,
lack.
instant action.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one where you could fight as Empire or Rebellion?
Oh,
It wasn't Galactic Conquest. It was.
I want to say Imperial something.
Yeah, because you can go as a 501st, can't you?
That was so good.
What was that?
I can't remember what that was called, but that was.
Yeah.
I just remember Cody's voice in the background, just going, "The first day of the 501st. We've been traveling through precisely. I don't know what we would have done without the Jedi." It's just like the best.
Rise of the Republic.
The story in that game was actually emotional as well, you know.
Don't get me started on the scene where he says we had to go into the Jedi temple. We all knew what we were gonna do, and I was like, "No, don't do it,
Was that the
guys."
first Battlefront?
This is the second Battlefront.
It's the second one.
Yeah.
The second. No, but is it the first Battlefront 2 or the second Battlefront 2?
The first Battlefront 2.
Yeah. Don't mention number 2.
The second Battlefront 2. That's why you guys were saying, "Oh, it's the best game of all time." I'm like, the newest one? Or?
No.
Yeah.
Hell no.
It's like that. That's a great. Like, it's a great game, and I like playing it. But nothing beats the original.
No,
the original
no chance.
Battlefront 2.
However,
I loved playing the first Battlefront where on Naboo, where you had the animals with the shields coming down.
Yeah.
That was a great game.
I can remember being in Cloud City, and I can remember Darth Vader just entering the battlefield, and you're there throwing thermal grenades at him, just trying to make him fall off Cloud City. That was just endless entertainment. It was brilliant.
Oh, dear.
So,
8 or
like,
9 years old.
the first Battlefront has some really good maps.
Yeah.
Sort of. You just don't get that anymore. The maps in all the new ones are way too small.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about the first ones, is just the maps are so huge. And you had 200 players or whatever it was.
Kill streaks of like 100.
Yeah. I can always remember I think it was the second Battlefront with the map Favela. Is it Favela?
That's a Modern Warfare 2 map, George, but you know.
No. What's the one?
Felucia.
Felucia, yeah, that's the one.
Felucia, yeah.
Oh, that was a sick map.
Yeah,
it was.
When you had to protect the walker.
Yeah.
Parts came in. That was good. Endless entertainment. That was good.
Dude,
the remake of that map is not as good, I don't think.
What? Sorry.
The remakes on the second Battlefront 2 game, the most recent one, that they've stopped updating. They made it like a King of the Hill kind of map. So you'd have 2 command points on either side, and then a command point right at the center at the top of the hill. Yes. So it was essentially whoever took that top of the hill first was King of the Hill for the entire match.
And it's one of those maps that it felt a little bit against you the entire time. I know what you're getting at here is that there wasn't a lot of strategy behind it. It was just get to the top. You're then therefore you win the match,
and then you've won.
Yeah, I think that was the great thing about Battlefront 2 in the sense that it offered like everybody some sort of fun. I mean, me and George talk endlessly about Mos Eisley and the Jedi versus
heroes versus villains.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
And that ended friendships. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah. If you saw each other on the Saturday, you won't be talking in school on the Monday, I assure you.
It
was good. It was good.
Can I ask you guys, what's your favourite character to play as if you were playing heroes versus villains?
Obi-Wan, easy. If it was villains, I'll probably say Darth Maul. Or
Boba Fett.
Yeah, I like
Boba Fett.
Oh,
okay.
I got to go with Jordan on this. Boba Fett
It just
was,
looks so cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the jetpack, you could just get up on top of the Falcon and then on top of the wall, and then you just run around the wall at the top, shooting people.
Definition of rooftop campers.
I'm going to piss you guys off now by putting a statement out there by saying that The Empire Strikes Back was overrated.
What?
Well,
No.
I agree with you, actually, on some level.
Fantastic characters.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, personally, I felt that everyone always goes to it as like the movie, and that's where Boba Fett was introduced, right, as this badass character. And then all of a sudden in the next film, he's just like eaten. And obviously, as someone who's a big fan of Boba Fett, I was kind of like a little bit annoyed for both films in the sense that we didn't really get to see the best of him. Kind of glad.
I think they sort of addressed that with Jango Fett.
Yeah.
In the next two, though. Well, not the next two, but the newer ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got to see some more action. Oh, actually, that brings me to my next point that I can't actually really talk about because it'll be a spoiler.
It will be
know.
because it's a badass point. Yeah. But for the Mandalorian, we'll just say the Mandalorian and end it there because we'll spoil it for George and Johnny. But
so
exciting.
I already know what's happening, although I haven't seen any of the Mandalorian yet. But I have read a book in the canon series when Lucas owned Lucasfilm and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
And it was great because in the book, I can't remember the name of the book, and it kills me, but in the book, Han Solo is an old man and Boba Fett survives and comes out of the beast. So he doesn't die, he just gets knocked out and then escapes somehow. But he comes back a really old man, and him and Han Solo fight as really old men. And I thought that was such a great point to kind of go on. And now obviously Disney have changed the series, but
I think it kind of bothered me that they changed the canon now because obviously Jango Fett was regarded as not a Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bit of a dick, really, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's still a really cool character, nonetheless.
Oh, he's totally one of my favorite characters still.
Yeah.
Because I think he looks so cool. There's something about it. Every time I saw him, I was like, man, I've got to get a set of armor.
It's cool. Also that he was able to sort of fight off Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan, whether you love him or hate him, whoever you are, I think that the character itself, he's very powerful. Like if you look at over all of it, so the fact that Jango Fett was able to fight him off, that's like clearly how cool the Mandalorians are.
Yeah.
But moving a point I was going to bring up, and I've asked about quite a range of things here, and this is probably one of my favourite things to talk about. Who's your favourite Sith Lord? And this could be anyone across all of the timeline. Doesn't matter where you're looking at.
I think I need to read some more books. I said this to someone the other day. I need to read some more books before I make my mind up. Because I like the of Darth Nihilus. I think he looks so cool. So I want to read his book.
That's such a shout.
Darth Ruin? Darth Ruin? Darth Ruin? I was listening to a Star Wars theory in the car on the way to home today. And it's about a Sith Lord called Darth Ruin. I haven't really read up on him, but I think he's one to look out for. I don't know
what's so cool about him?
I don't know. It was literally just a 5-minute podcast that I was kind of fading in and out of. But I'll do my research tonight and then I'll get back to you next week. But apparently he's really good.
Okay. I'll look out for him. But Jordan's shout there is a guy called Darth Nihilus, who, for the listeners who may not know, he's a planet eater, and that's all I'll say. And that's a pretty cool aspect. Johnny, what's your favourite Sith Lord, mate?
I'm stuck between two, and it's either Plagueis or Revan.
I knew you were going to say that.
And if the rumors are true, or if the fan fiction is true and they get Keanu Reeves to play Raven, then yeah, Raven will be my favorite.
Pronounced Revan, but you know.
Okay. Sorry, mate. I read the
I'm
books.
that guy.
I don't listen to them.
I don't listen to them. But you know what? I'm not going to be that guy. But those are shouts as well. Those are absolutely sick shouts. I think that Plagueis is one of the most complex characters that could have easily been thrown into the Disney universe. Just like Nihilus, just like Darth. I forgot who George said then. Who did you say, George?
Darth Ruin.
Darth Ruin. I mean, that's a badass name in the first place. It's just some of these guys, and I'm super hopeful that they bring in an old Republic / old Sith Empire sort of vibe, and I really hope they put a series on it, because you guys might not know of him, but Darth Vicious is like the badass of all Sith Lords, in my opinion. He's basically the only other emperor in all of Star Wars history apart from Palpatine. So if you ever get a chance, look him up, because Vicious is a badass who seems to die and come back multiple times with different names.
I've heard of him actually. I don't remember where.
He's all over Wikipedia, as we're going to put through out of it. But just as we've talked about favourite Sith Lords, we can't not talk about favourite Jedi. I think I can guess George's favourite straight off the bat, but we'll go anyway. We'll start with George anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to have to be Obi-Wan or Mace Windu. I think. Ooh. I mean, I didn't really see. Well, we saw him in the prequels, and obviously, I know he died. But rumor has it that he is not dead. Who knows? But I just didn't think. I mean, although we didn't get much screen time as what I thought he would, he was just one of those characters that you can kind of think, yeah, he'd rock. Like, he's a pretty awesome Jedi. But I mean, it doesn't. I mean, you can't go as far as Obi-Wan Kenobi being the best Jedi. 100%. Easy.
What you guys saying? So it's George's statement that I can't agree more with. I think he's named two of the most badass Jedi that are out there. So someone who comes to mind immediately for me is Revan, because you've also stated he's a Sith Lord, but he was also a pretty badass Jedi in his time. But what you guys saying?
Yeah, it's difficult, because on the one hand you've got the likes of Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker, who are just so epic. But the kind of Jedi that I really kind of got in touch with was Lannery Brock, the original. So she's the protagonist in Dawn of the Jedi, Into the Void, the book, the canon book that's meant to be the beginning of the Jedi Order.
Wow.
And yeah, so I read that book and I was just so kind of impressed with her portrayal and how she did things in the universe, that I would have to say her, really.
Jordan,
outside of the main.
You look like you're
that
really
looks like
pondering.
Disgust. How dare you not say Obi-Wan?
No, I'm really interested by this book. It sounds like an interesting time or part of the timeline.
Yeah, it's. I went through a phase of just going on Wikipedia and then looking at the entire collection of books on the canon, authorized canon by the Lucas book. And I picked the first one in the middle, and one at the end, and I wanted to compare the three, and I've only read the one at the beginning. So, yeah, it's a great book.
Dude, the amount of information you can get from them is just incredible.
Yeah,
anyway. Totally agree. Jordan, I'm going to press you for an answer here, bud. What's the Jedi that's going to come to mind for you?
So I've got two. Obviously, I think Anakin, really cliche choice, but he represents such a huge turning point in the the whole sort of timeline of the galaxy, because ultimately he changed everything. Also, he's just funny and crazy powerful. And he also worked so well as a hero and a villain.
Yeah.
But I also really like Kanan.
Ooh.
From Rebels.
Rebels, yeah, that's a shout as well. Damn. Yeah, I forgot about Kanan because he goes blind. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it. But nonetheless,
everyone should have seen it by now.
Just like, at this point, you should have
seen it. It's the 5-year rule. If 5 years have passed, then yeah, you should have seen it.
It's like people who say they haven't seen the Shining ending and stuff like that. It's just like, it's been enough time, guys. Come on, let's get over it. But I think that's an absolute shout. Kanan goes blind and then is still a badass in the franchise and all the way until the end. And I think and Anakin isn't cliche, Jordan. Anakin is a very split character who I think the viewer can really associate themselves with and really feel what he's feeling. He's probably one of the only Jedi who isn't basically a wooden board because of the lack of emotion. So yeah. Totally.
Or a religious zealot.
Or a religious zealot, yeah. Exactly. Oh dear. But so we've talked about Sith, we've talked about Jedi. I think I'm going to throw it in there. We've talked about these two very minor parts because the universe is so big now. Who's your favorite character?
Ooh. If anyone says Jar Jar Binks, I'm hanging up.
Yeah, please. Oh, that would be so funny. George is just sat there in the corner, just like nothing.
Thinking.
Yeah, you're very quiet here now.
I've got to say, Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
Her arc is so impressive, and her involvement in the whole, not only her own storyline, but the whole storyline of and the emotion that is presented in the Clone Wars, in Rebels, and I haven't seen Mandalorian, but I know she's there. Spoiler alert, sorry.
Been long enough.
Yeah, 5 days. 5 days is long enough. We've
5 days
knocked it
long
down
enough.
from 5 years.
5 years to 5 days. And I was quite upset with my father because my father's seen it and I haven't seen it yet. But he called her the zebra lady.
Oh
and
my god!
I had to walk away, otherwise I was going to hit him. So he said, "Oh, the zebra lady's in it." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh, days.
Yeah, that I wanted to disown myself from the family. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I love it. Oh my god.
Yeah, Ahsoka Tano, the amount of emotion, especially even just in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
During that during the relationship with Anakin as her kind of mentor right at the first episode, all the way through till the final series. You get that character arc that I don't think you see anywhere else. So I'm going to say Ahsoka Tano.
Brilliant.
You have 2 favorites or 3. The father and son, the Fets, because they're just so menacing, and they don't have to have lightsabers or the Force to just be really damn scary. Because I think, especially with Boba Fett, when I saw him in the original films when I was a kid, he was this quiet guy, you don't see his face. Oh man, he's scary. But I also like the stormtrooper who banged his head on the door frame.
I was going to say that.
I thought you were going to say
the
clone that punched the.
Yeah, the droid.
Punched the
droid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. For me, it's out of 2. I'd have to say Han Solo. Just because 1, Harrison Ford, and 2, he's Han Solo, isn't he? And then the second one was, I literally just had it. It wasn't Obi-Wan. It was. Come back to me. I'll think of his name in a minute.
I thought you were about to say Lando Calrissian then. I was like, that's fair enough.
No.
That'd have been a fair shout, because I kind of feel like the Lando character was...
Oh, that's it. Yeah, Count Dooku.
Count
I'd say
Dooku. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean,
That's
he hasn't been mentioned a lot, but Christopher Lee.
Yes.
And yeah,
R.I.P. Big man.
I mean, like watching the prequels first, he was the only one with the odd lightsaber, apart from Darth Maul. But the handle, I thought was pretty cool. And
he's a very complex character. Very complex.
But yeah, I'd say Han Solo or Count Dooku for me.
Some pretty absolute. I'd say all of you have named characters who all have a unique sort of vibe to all of them, and provide the viewer with questions more than answers, which I always loved about the Star Wars franchise. I know about you guys, where you could like delve a little bit deeper and you could find little bits of detail. And this is
I think that is another thing I like about it, because you get so many films where the film is made, it's in the cinema for a bit, it happens, and then it runs its course and it's forgotten about, even if it's a really cool film. But Star Wars has this sort of, it's so easy to be a lifetime fan and still keep finding things out.
Yes. Yeah. People add to it, don't they? They give the detail. And I love, you recommended to me a couple of YouTube channels where they start diving into the theory behind it. I think one of them's called Star Wars Theory. The other one's, I can't remember off the top of my head actually, but it doesn't matter. They dive in deeper into some of the theories behind it, and we've all swapped memes on the internet. I love the ones where we get the what if happened, what it could have happened, like these different theories of, for instance, you know, we talked about earlier seeing Anakin in the light side with a yellow lightsaber trained by Qui-Gon, or Count Dooku on the light side and not a Sith. It's just these alternative timelines that are fascinating to sort of question. And like Jordan said here, it's like this ability to be a lifetime fan and not want more. And I think that's what Disney at the moment are probably looking at and thinking, that's a cash cow, and we can probably reel them in with an extra little bit of detail every time.
It's working.
It's working, yeah.
I feel like this whole cash cow fast film kind of ethos that Disney and a lot of other companies have had. I'm not saying it's just Disney, but I feel like they don't need to do that with Star Wars. If you just put your money where your mouth is, really invest into the franchise, really invest into this whole story arc and the whole universe, you don't have to pump films out, because you're going to get money left, right and center anyway, because you do have diehard fans of Star Wars, you do have new fans of Star Wars, and you do have the people that just casually watch film after film and just comment that people look like zebras. But
I think it is good that they're doing things as series now rather than films, because they can go into a lot more detail. With a film, it's all sort of crammed in to fit into an hour and a half or whatever it is. But with the series, you can really just get a lot more into it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about The Mandalorian. It's touching so many details that would otherwise have been overlooked.
Yeah. 100%.
It's. I found the prequels the sequels quite annoying, because you do have that like speed jumping between planets. Like, oh yeah, we go to this planet for maybe 20 seconds, and then boom, you're on another planet, and boom, you're on another planet. It just seems like they're rushing things. And yeah, exactly, with the Mandalorian and well, the Kenobi series coming out and the Andor series coming out, I definitely think the series aspect is a great way to portray more information.
100%. So I've got my final question here for you guys, and this one's just a bit of a fun one. So I'll do a two-part one here. Who's the character that you think you resemble the most, and what possession do you think in Star Wars you value the most? So possession being like, it could be Boba Fett's gun, or it could be your personal lightsaber, or anything like that. So some of those.
Well, stuff that we've got already. Or...
You can have it, you can not have it, whatever you think of to the top of your head.
Okay. What character do I represent? I'll probably say Jar Jar Binks. I'll say,
I'll give you that one.
The cross of Watto. And then my most memorabilia thing that I've got is probably this.
That's awesome.
Chewbacca there as well. I don't know if you can see him.
Yeah, I can see that. George,
Yeah,
I genuinely thought you were going to say Anakin's my possession then, because you
No,
said
I've said Anakin and Obi-Wan far too much. No, yeah, I'm not wise like them two. So I'll probably say Jar Jar Binks.
That's brilliant, mate. I love it. No, those possessions are sick as well. That's really cool drawing in the right-hand side. I really like that. It's good. And while we're waiting for Jonny and Jordan, I'll throw mine out there. My favourite possession would have to be the Star Wars Battlefront original. Star Wars Battlefront 2 original PS2 disc, which I still have. Original. It has been held. It has clean and it works to this day. So legit. And character I probably most resemble. I'm trying to think of who's the biggest dick in the franchise. Let's go with Mace Windu because he's a dick towards Anakin every 5 seconds. So we'll go with that.
I don't know who.
They are very good questions, and it's very difficult. I don't personally believe I've got NPC or.
Did you just call yourself a non-character?
I've got NPC energy in the Star Wars universe. I feel like I'm a.
How dare you, Jonny?
Merchant or something.
Oh dear!
I feel like I'm just that side person that gets that red shirt that just gets killed.
You're Clone Trooper 567.
Yeah.
You're the stormtrooper that bangs his head on the door.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I'd go with that one. Yeah, I'm the stormtrooper that knocks his head on the door.
I love it.
The possession. Goodness me, I'm trying to think.
What would you want, mate? Think of something that you would like, even if you don't.
I haven't got a lightsaber yet, and I'm really keen to get one. But I would like one of the Christmas is coming up. I would love to have one of the combat ones. So not just the kind of the extendable ones that just light up, the ones that you could actually use and they won't break into a million pieces.
Saberforge.
Shout out.
Yeah.
They've been please sponsor me.
Sponsor us.
They should. The amount of bloody money I've spent with them now.
Yeah.
Sponsor what is it? What's your company name? Greenworks. Sponsor Greenworks. Jordan, what's yours? So we've managed to get one out. Actually, before I go to Jordan, Jonny, what lightsaber and who owns it, or is this your personal customized lightsaber?
So it's going to be a kind of, I don't know if you guys have played it, but the Star Wars Fallen Order game.
Oh, that's a shout.
You get I can't, let me just have a look because I can't remember the name of the who's the Jedi Master. No, not Cal Kestis. Who's the
I remember now that you mention it.
Is this the Master of Cal, or is this the?
Yeah, the Master of Cal Kestis is.
Doesn't he have a double-ended green lightsaber?
No, he doesn't. He has a single purple one.
Ooh, I don't think I've seen.
Oh no, he has a single blue one. Sorry. Cal Kestis is. Sorry, I'm just going on with Wikipedia.
While we wait for Jonny, we'll move on to Jordan for a minute. Jordan, who's the character you most resemble, and what possession do you want or have?
Another cliche choice because he's also my favorite. Anakin gets emotional all the time. Likes to go fast. Hates sand.
Hates sand. That's brilliant.
The similarities are. There's a lot.
Uncanny. I see it. I can see it now. We'll have to get you a Darth Vader mask. When you're extremely moody, we'll just give it to you.
Just need to grow a bit.
Hang on. You know, he's how tall? Yeah, he's only like 6 foot, isn't he?
That's still a lot more than me.
But possession. So you've got quite a few lightsabers. Are there anything else that you would want out of the franchise that you think to yourself, like, wow, that'd be a killer?
think if I was gonna have something, I think a Sith Holocron would be cool.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I love that.
That would be
that's
great.
pretty fucking cool. Oh, mate. Sith Holocrons. They are so interesting to think about when you think about all the temples across the entire sort of Star Wars franchise. And you've got all of these like Jedi temples, Sith temples. And I know I'm diving in a little bit off topic here, but I love the theory of the fact that Emperor Palpatine settled on Coruscant because there was a Sith temple below the Jedi temple. And that's why he was able to mask his presence the entire time of the prequel series. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was like, I love that theory.
It's a great great way to explain how he hid this like almighty power. Because I generally compare Palpatine to Yoda at the kind of hierarchy of the Jedi and hierarchy of the Sith. They're kind of equal in power. But he just gains Palpatine, or Darth Sidious gains so much power hiding in the shadows, and then he just
unlimited power.
Unlimited power. The lightsaber owner that I would, or the lightsaber that I would get, is Jaro Tapal.
Okay.
So he is one of the, I think it's 4 Jedi to actually feel the effects of Order 66. And it's so Jaro did, Yoda did, Ahsoka did, and there was another one that I can't remember the name of. And they actually felt the Force change, which I thought was amazing. Yeah.
Well, technically speaking, Ki-Adi-Mundi did before he died. Like, it was just too late, because you see it on his face. Like, just before he dies, he realizes what's about to happen.
Oh yeah, because he turns around, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Because he's charging into battle. That's when the music starts, and it's ho 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 ho, and I'm like, no, don't do this to me.
Yeah.
But that's a real shout, and I do like that you mentioned the 4 Jedi who did feel the end of Order 66, because it is a serious point in the timeline. And I know we normally refer to before Yavin as the point in the time to reference, but I feel like there should be a timeline point where they say before Order 66 and after Order 66. It should be more.
Yeah.
But
so I think that was a bigger turning point.
Yeah. Rather than the Battle of Yavin, which, although it did get rid of the Empire, and we move on to the next bit.
But it's just some people scrapping in the woods, really.
Yeah. Mate, describe Star Wars to anybody. It's just some people scrapping in the woods. There you go.
Teddy bears.
Teddy bears scrapping in the woods. Yeah. Don't, George. You'll make me think of the teddy bear who died, and then you see his best mate come over to him, and he's like, "Wake up!" And I'm like, "No." Oh dear, mate, I'm too emotional when it comes down to Star Wars. It's one of those things. But Jordan, did we get the possession from you there? I don't think we did. What was the main thing?
Holocron.
That was it. Thank you. Sorry, we did. My bad. It's because Jordan.
Also this.
Also that. Get it in the frame each time.
I've actually got Darth Vader's one as well.
Dude, that's killer.
And let me show you the coolest thing about these.
Are they metal as well, or are they plastic?
It's got a crystal.
Oh, schnitzel. That's really cool. Dude.
Yeah, they're all metal. These are like sparring ready.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
And it's
the blade is all polycarbonate and
because the Kyber crystals determine the color of the lightsaber, and I always love the idea of Kyber crystals being like sort of a thing within the Star Wars universe. And
I mean, that's something I liked about the Fallen Order game is you get to go and get your own from the caves.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Because you always hear about it, but you never see it, and now you actually get to go through it. You know.
Yeah. Mm. It's one of those games.
So the Kyber crystal aspect, I absolutely love the fact that Disney so with Ben's lightsaber, because it's got that fiery glow to it, it's because the crystal's cracked.
Yes.
Because he was obviously like forced into the dark side, or pushed towards the dark side, but is true. He wants to be truly on the light side of the Force.
Yeah.
So this conflicting view. Another thing that I didn't really understand was the way I understand it is the way the lightsabers turn red is after you've killed innocents.
So from what I'm
right?
aware, you build your own, and it's a synthetic crystal. So it's not a real Kyber crystal, and that's how the Sith, like they're all red because they have synthetic crystals that are.
See, I was under the impression that when someone turns Sith, they kill a Jedi, or they somehow acquire a pure crystal.
You can bleed it.
They have to bleed it and put it through a load.
Yeah, there's two ways of doing it, because that's what happens to Anakin's lightsaber. So like he doesn't get a synthetic crystal. He goes on to kill loads of Jedi and bleeds.
Because there was actually a comic strip about him as Vader, and it was his first sort of big task. Once he'd all healed up and was ready to take orders from the Emperor, he had to go whack off some Jedi. And
but he killed a load of Jedi, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then his lightsaber was still blue in Return of the Sith.
I'm pretty sure it's a long process.
It was sort of between the two when he'd actually become the suited and booted Darth Vader we all know and love. Yeah. There was actually there's a comic or a book on it, and I think he actually struggled to get it to turn red for a while.
And then I remember
Sidious sort of sent him back and got on with it.
For God's sake, George.
Always here to lower the tone.
God damn. What I do think that Jordan's, you just clicked in my memory there. Have you guys seen the comic bit where Vader's surrounded by rebels, and then they say, "You're surrounded," and then he says, "All I'm surrounded by is dead men." And it's like this, just like the most badass comic strip. You're like, geez, this is the true Darth Vader.
I think that is one thing that did bother me about films and series in general, is they don't show how like powerful and evil this dude was.
Apart from in Scarif, above Scarif, where he turns on the red lightsaber and it's just death.
That's my favourite bit of Rogue One.
Do you remember when we all saw that together and we were sat in the cinema and then we saw it and we're like, oh my God!
Oh my God! Yeah.
It was like when me and George were watching Solo and Maul turns up at the end and we were just like looked at each other like, what?
Yeah. The most unprecedented canny ever. No one expected it really, did they?
No. I loved it.
I love when that happens though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But before we end the podcast, because I feel like we've covered so much ground here, guys. Is there anything else that you'd like to cover before we end it?
No, I've spoken about the Stormtrooper banging his head, so I'm good.
You fulfilled your purpose.
Hate Django. You love Django. You hate Jar Jar.
You hate Jar Jar. Yeah, Jar Jar's... Oh, here's something to end the podcast on. Is Jar Jar Sith?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course he is.
Love it. Thank you all for being on the podcast, guys. You just ended it on the perfect note possible. So thank you to Jonny, Jordan, George, you're absolute legends for coming on. And if Ali's listening to this, you missed your chance, bud. You'll be on the next one. Thanks for waking us all up early for this bad light. Anyway, this has been a Taylor's Tales podcast. This is Chris's Corner. I'm your host, Chris Taylor. And may the Force be with you always.